Okay. We are now live. I was asked to lower the game volume, which I have now done. And I have also added a chat overlay, so hello chat. You can see yourselves. Welcome in. We are going to be playing DUSK because literally couldn't decide what to play. Decided to play DUSK because it's a really easy game and I didn't have anything installed and I was kind of bored of Last Epoch and I know the end game isn't good. So yeah, this stream is going to be all about beginner occult questions because every time I try to have a stream where we try to talk about things, it ends up going the same way every time. And so I figured instead of just dispersing them over a bunch of streams at in 30-minute intervals in the middle of streams, we will just have one gigantic stream where I answer as many of the beginner occult questions, and then everyone ignores this stream video exists and will keep asking them. But I figure we will have them all in one dedicated place regardless. So that is the plan for this stream, and I've started a little bit early because there's a lot of questions. I asked the community Discord, I asked Instagram, and I'm gonna plug in my phone, and we're gonna enjoy this. So we are also playing on Cero Miedo, which I cannot speak Spanish at all. Apologies to the Spanish audience among us. I cannot speak Spanish at all. I'm actually good. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Let me grab the first couple of questions.
Kill the intruder.
I forgot how fast you're moving this. So yeah, the first couple of questions were, how do I know that I'm meditating right? And the answer to that is you just kind of know. Which is a terrible answer, but let me explain. You know when you're meditating right because you know when you're not meditating right. What I mean by that is you know when you're meditating right because you will have a vibe and a sense that you are meditating correctly. Now, that being said, when you meditate properly, you will notice that you have a sense that things are going well. You have a sense that things are going well and that you are meditating in a proper way to where you are actually having a situation of, yeah, I'm meditating correctly. And you know that because you know when you're not, right? Unfortunately, it is the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't situation. For those of you who know that one. But for those of you who want a, slightly better answer than the answer is when you feel tranquil and at peace with everything going on, that is more or less how you know when you are in the right state for meditation. That is how you know you are in the right state for meditation. Another question that was asked quite a bit, actually, which kind of surprised me, was beginner tools. Do you need the dagger for the LBRP if you are just starting out? And the answer to that question is, it's nice to have, but you do not need it. You do not need it. It is 100% optional, but it is important to note that it does improve the effectiveness of what you're doing. When I get into meditation, sometimes my inner voice is like, yeah, I'm meditating. Now this is meditation. it's annoying. Yeah, that is your mind trying to play nice, and because you know what meditation should feel like, right? And it is the exact opposite of what you just described, Void. It is the exact opposite of that, because you're supposed to be meditating. And when you're meditating, you're supposed to be tranquil. You're not supposed to be having any issues. You might be wondering why we're playing this, and the reason is because, one, I didn't have a game prepped, and two, shooting bad guys in a video game is my happy place. Anyways. Yeah, no, you're not gonna have that issue. Another thing is, what kind of magic can I do if I live with really strict parents who would be really upset with me summoning demons in my room? And the answer to that question is maybe if you live with really strict parents, you should not be summoning demons. You can use the sink. Yeah, okay. Maybe you shouldn't be summoning demons in your room if your evangelical parents aren't going to be happy with it. Just saying. And that question actually did take me a little bit off guard because am always surprised by the sheer number of people who want to get into occultism, live with parents who are not okay with it, because they, they're usually underage and they're like 16 or something, and they want to, like, I want to summon the devil as a form of teenage rebellion, and, no one questions, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't be calling up the devil as a form of teenage rebellion. I don't know about you guys. That's my opinion, at least. Probably shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, it's usually the initial dive into the meditation. It eases up later, but I never thought my inner voice would be like an enthusiastic SpongeBob. Well, that's what its job is, right? Like, the inner voice's job is to, one, give you ideas and to keep you alive, and two, it's to help out. Greetings, I'm getting caught up at 2x speed now. Congratulations, Skeptic. Welcome in. So yeah, that is that's the notable questions. I'm gonna blame the fact that I was reading chat for that. Was it chat's fault? No, not even close. There we go. That one was my bad. So yeah, that was the notable questions from the Discord. The other important thing was, where can I find jeweler's quality tin to make tentacles and talismans? If anyone knows where to get high quality tin, for the love of God, please let me know. I don't know. It's been bugging me for literally years. It's the one thing I can't find. If anyone knows where I can get tin, please let me know. Oh yeah. Other than that, those were the ones from the Discord. Other questions I got asked were, how do you know good and evil? This was a very nebulous question. This was the one question I got from Instagram. I put up a little Instagram question. And I basically asked, like, any questions on Instagram, and not many replies on Instagram. We still love the people over on Instagram, but at the same time, they're very quiet people. They just kind of enjoy. So I basically got, how do you know good and evil stuff? Good stuff from evil. And the thing about it is that good stuff, you just kind of know, because a lot of the occult has vibes. Now, if you want a more encyclopedic answer, also, there is no reloading in this game. There is a reload animation, though. So, you go through, and if you're dealing with stuff, right? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna answer this question, then I'll start reading chat. I will start reading chat in between questions. How about that one? So, when you go ahead and you're dealing and you're working with an entity, usually you can tell what the entity is, because you're not going to summon something you don't know what it is. That just doesn't make sense, right? Like, think about that for a second. Are you going to summon up some kind of spirit that you're not even sure what it is? No, you're not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense, right? So, if you're calling up a demon and you get a bad vibe, that makes sense. If an angel is telling you things and you get a bad vibe of what the angel is telling, that's when you decide to go ahead and you do the standard... I'm going to use my confirmation skills and make sure that you are actually an angel, sir, because usually angels are not a problem. Unless you've been committing a lot of sin. If you've been committing a lot of sin, angels may or may not be as nice to you as you were expecting. I don't know if that was a bug or what. But yeah. How to speedrun the great work. You can't. Because the great work is never continued. The great work is continued by every person who practices. So the great work will never be finished. But you also can't slow run the great work either. Alright, so, scrolling back up. Okay. Do you have a daily meditation routine, or is it more operation specific? It depends on the day. I usually try to do... I have like a daily thing that I do regardless. I have a daily thing that I do regardless of whatever I'm doing. Like, there's always some form of magic being done. Always. Some form of magic is always being done. That's just kind of how it is. You can use the shower. Every day something is done. What about, quote, when your magic fails? I've worked with the 72 and the magic has been not bad, but surely not good. That is a problem of not binding actions not wanted. You always want to bind down actions not wanted, because that way... Forget about that. You always want to bind down actions not wanted, because if you're not binding down actions not wanted, you can end up having absolutely disastrous consequences to your magic. Which is why we do that. And those of you who need a refresher, binding down actions not wanted is when you just put something at the end of it, like, and may it harm none is a good one. That's one a lot of people use. While blessing all involved is one. You know, there's a bunch that you can use. Like, there really is no end to the amount of things that you can use. How are spirits created? What makes them up? And why are they so powerful? Can they be summoned Why, if they are so powerful, can they be summoned and constrained by us? Okay, so there are a couple of reasons why. So I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to do something I absolutely cannot stand, which is appealing to physics. There is an equation that everyone knows called E equals mc squared, right? E equals mc squared, for those of you who are... Oh, you can flush things, by the way. Those of you who don't know, E equals mc squared is the formula for energy. And I forget where I'm supposed to go. Hello, Google user. Welcome in. Now, the thing about it is that that formula indicates that if things have mass, they have more energy. The more massive something is, the more energetic it is. The reason why that is important is because spirits do not have mass. Spirits are energy. They are pure energy. Therefore, it is a case of we're bigger than them. as weird as that sounds. It is literally a case of spirits are less energetically dense than we are. That is the empirical, we're going to look at this in objective terms way of looking at things. The other way of looking at things is that we have the divine spark of God in creation, so we have been given the mandate from the divine to be able to command spirits. Which, personally, I find that example, or that explanation, to be much more palatable in my personal opinion. Because I do not like the might makes right situation. I think it's kind of cringe, honestly. We're going back. We're going back. I forgot something. Okay, yeah. So, how to speedrun the great work. Covered that, you can't. So, the reason that spirits can be constrained is because we literally are built different from them. That is... The best way to explain it is we are built different from spirits. Like, actually. There we go. How can prayers be made more powerful, especially when they are part of a ritual? Say them more intensely. This is a concept called ecstatic prayer. Ecstatic prayer is going to be your bread and butter when it comes to doing lots of prayer and the like. Now, this is where in the old grimoires, you hear them say such wonderful things as inflame thyself with prayer. This is what they mean by that. Where is the... There it is. There we go. This is the inflame thyself with prayer mentioned in the grimoires. It is literally just the recipe for making prayer work better, is you just say it more intensely to the point where you feel like you're on fire. We are constrained by physical laws. Spirits are constrained by spiritual laws, which are sometimes legalistic. Yep, that also helps. Where is the... There it is. So we're bigger than them, and or my God is bigger than you and will beat you up just kind of seems to break down to childlike logic. I mean, spirits are simple, dude. You would be surprised. But there's also the legalistic side of it too, because spiritual laws are different. Like, we have physical laws, so we have to obey the laws of physics, but if you go to the spirit realm, if you go and astral project, you don't need to. Yeah. How can prayers be made more powerful, especially when they are part of a ritual? The way you do this is say them more powerfully, and something I just remembered, which I recorded a video mentioning this earlier. If you are ad-libbing a prayer... What am I doing? If you are ad-libbing a prayer, that's totally fine. But if you are going ahead and you are ad-libbing a prayer, you should probably go ahead and make sure that you aren't ad-libbing something that you could be using an already pre-written prayer for. And the reason why you want to use pre-written prayers, beyond the obvious, is because pre-written prayers have a power to them in and of themselves. Because there is a power to traditions. Which, it's kind of weird to put it that way, but that really is how it is. Traditions have power to them in and of themselves. Which is why when you can use a pre-written prayer, it is often a good idea to. How important is casting a circle when... Yes, very, very. What happens if you neglect this step? Bad things. You no longer have the authority to control the spirit, but you still have the ability to call them. So, hypothetically, you call up an angel, and, you know, sometimes, and I'm just going to say it this way, not every time you're going to be calling something up, you're going to have it down pat, and sometimes you're going to be messing up, and sometimes you are going to mess up the ritual, and that's totally fine, right? You mess up, everyone gets to mess up a little bit. But at the same time, you should be trying to do rituals as good as you possibly can. You should be trying to do them to the best of your ability. Now, the thing is, when you don't circle cast, if you are dealing with spirits, two things can happen. One, nothing bad happens. Two, something very bad happens. This is a binary choice. There is no middle option. If you are dealing with something bad, what usually happens is parasites come in, they see you've drawn a bunch of negative, or they see you've drawn a bunch of magical energy, and they try to, like, swarm you, basically, because you've lit yourself up to do magic, but you haven't cast a circle, so you have no protections. That's not good, right? The other thing is that if you decide, oh, I'm gonna call up a demon with no protections at all, no circle casting, no nothing, welcome in. If you decide to do that, right, you go ahead and you end up having a problem where you have a bunch of spirits that are trying to suck up your energy because you didn't do the proper protections. They're just doing their job. They're like, you're free lunch, basically. To be fair, I work in retail and most humans are about that simple. Yeah, that really is how it is. Okay, cool. The idea of inflaming yourself with prayer reminds me of the evangelical Pentecostal style of prayer. Yeah, no, that's kind of normal. That is kind of where it comes from. Like, it is kind of sort of where it comes from. Not like 100%, but still. Forget which one of these I need to deal with. Yeah. So the Psalms are powerful because of the collective power of centuries or traditions and the number of people reciting them. The Psalms, yes, but also the Psalms have a whole thing about how they are more or less mathematically perfected prayers. As insane as that sounds. They are the basis by which a lot of magic is actually done. Going along with that, you end up having a situation where the Psalms are used basically as the baseline prayers for like hundreds of years, right? So the Psalms are used as like the baseline prayers, and if they're used as the baseline prayers, well, why would you not use the basic prayers, right? Think about it. Why are you going to go try to come up with your own prayers when these are tried and true, have been tested for hundreds of years? Absolutely amazing. On top of that, you have the chaos magic theory that, yes, it has to do with the tradition. And they besmirched a church, so we're out for blood now. Wrong game, but we're out for blood. So yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like the amount of people believing in something, like it's the amount of people and the amount of time people have believed something that gives it power. Like Christmas has been, Christmas has a power, and Christmas is one of if you think about it, you trace its roots back to the winter solstice. Christmas is one of the oldest holidays, basically. And if you think about it like that, yeah, Christmas is just really good, right? Like, Christmas is just... There's always going to be an importance to Christmas. But if I take Festivus... Festivus was made for Seinfeld, basically. That is not really going to have a power in and of itself, right? That's not really going to have a power. That's kind of a made-up religion. And it's not even like a... You know, you can make stuff up and have it work. Smoking is bad, kids. Remember? You can make stuff up and have it work, but the thing is, just because you make stuff up doesn't mean it will work as good as the tried and true stuff. This is like that whole chaos magic critique about how, why would you go to Scrooge McDuck when people have been worshipping Jupiter, Zeus, and the money gods that people already know for literally hundreds of years. That kind of thing. I'm relatively new to your channel, and I'm curious, do you believe in the concept of free will? Yes, I do believe in the concept of free will. But I believe it in context of... There are things that decide stuff that we cannot control. Right? Like, you cannot control everything. But you can control how you react to those things. And that in and of itself is going to determine... That in and of itself is going to determine... how events play out, right? So figure astrology is real, but your reactions to things determine stuff just as much, if not more so, than astrology. Can a carpet with a drawn circle work for a cast circle as long as we do the proper blessings each time it's used? I mean, if you do the proper rituals, you usually don't need... Like, if you use a proper ritual, if you do the right rituals, you don't even need to worry about a drawn circle on the floor. Like, straight up, you just don't. Oh. Right. This. Do spirits answer our call only by the authority of God? It is partially by the authority of God, partially their own curiosity, and partially because of ancient rules that and contracts that they have been forced to sign. But by and large, they answer us because God made it so they have to. At least for the naughty ones. Yep, there we go. Cool, cool. Are different gods avatars of the one god in your thinking or independent? They are. Okay. Here's my thinking on this. So if you want to know my opinion on gods in and of themselves, they are all reflections of the Most High, but they are not reflections of all of the Most High. They are reflections of an aspect of the Most High. So they're not all going to be the same aspect, so you can't really compare them. Like some... Well, you can compare them in that they're like pagan gods and stuff, but they're not going to be... You know, if I take the Greek Asclepius, he's going to be different from Raphael. Same aspect of the divine, the healing aspect of the divine. I think that is the right god. Same aspect of the divine, but they're going to be very different in terms of their manifestation and how they actually function, right? We traded God for demons. Yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Okay. For those of you who don't know the plot of this game, because I skipped it, this is you are a treasure hunter going into the demon/cult-infested town of DUSK, Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's what that is. Interesting, gave me something to think on. Happy to help, my guy. Happy to help. Do I have... Yeah, so... okay. And give me 1 sec. Going to... grab that. And... I've gotten a lot of questions about tools as well that I haven't really answered. So let me just take a moment and answer that. If you need a replacement for a dagger, 2 fingers extended, Google the dagger mudra, and that will usually work for you. Do you need a wand, 2 fingers? Now, this is, of course, mixing traditions quite a bit. But mudras can be used to substitute. You will naturally find yourself doing that kind of hand motion anyways with the, like, 2 fingers. Just because it's kind of a universal thing, but gets credited as a mudra because that's where it is codified, more or less.
You'll pay for that.
Can you talk a little bit about a love spell gone wrong or not as expected? How detailed can you be in asking the spirits concerning the person you want? Sure. So. Love spells gone wrong are the most annoying thing I've ever had to deal with in my magical career. They go wrong because you are, 1, not specifying, 2, putting stuff into a more insane package than it is, and sometimes you end up getting a spirit who thinks they know better for you than you do, and so they end up trying to set you up with the evil, you know. I think the current meme is if the goth girl is trying to act nice with you, remember it's sacrifice season. That's the meme at the moment. But I have seen people who try to do that kind of stuff, not knowing what's going on, and 9 times out of 10, it's because their girlfriend ends up talking them into it, and they're like, I don't know, this seems like a bad idea, and it's a bad idea, but they go through it anyways because it's their girlfriend. This has literally been a thing that has happened multiple times in various different stories and horror stories I've seen. Both in various places and online. So yeah. But the worst thing that I've ever had happen was due to not paying attention to correspondences in a love spell, not really specifying what I got, and using language I didn't understand, which, if you do that, according to Agrippa, even the spirits will make fun of you for thinking you are more proud than you ever did. Is Crowley the greatest mage of the last 200 years? No, not even close. No, miss me with that. Absolutely not.
Kill heretic.
Like, not even close. If anything, I think Crowley's probably one of the worst. He's just one of the most popular. Because Crowley gets credit for a lot of people that, rightfully, he probably shouldn't get credit for. Straight up. Could you go into detail about these ancient pacts or contracts that you mentioned? The story of Solomon's vessel still has credence, therefore those demons are still bound to obey the magician's who call them up in those methods. The Obermelon demons are the same Obermelon demons that were originally bound by Abraham von Worms, and those are new names for demons that were bound by ancient Greek magicians and ancient Egyptian ones. Straight up. Okay. Interpretations of God as aspects of divinity probably also helps makes things a lot more digestible. Yeah, no, it really does. Straight up. It just makes things so much more comprehensible. Because it's like, what correspondence table are we using today? You mentioned parasites being plentiful and attracted to energy, including implying one might have fed from a chemical explosion. That makes me wonder what energy forms they can feed from. Yeah, let me correct that a little bit. I still believe there was a parasite involved in that, but I do not necessarily think that, I misremembered. It was not Parsons dealing with Lamb, it was Crowley. So, that was my mistake. I still think Lamb was a parasite, but I just wanted to correct that now. Also, if you see paranormal investigation shows, yes, I know, I'm going paranormal investigation shows. Yeah, we're talking about those. Those, if you see those often have the spirits that are filling the houses, because let's not sugarcoat it. Those are probably, like, if they're trying to scare people, they're probably not good, right? If a spirit is trying to scare people, it's probably evil. Of some flavor of evil. And that in and of itself is a problem. But those spirits usually end up feeding off of thermal energy. They cause electronics to malfunction because they're feeding off of electronic energy. They scare people, which is emotional energy. They basically try to drain the energy out of everything, right? They try to make things cold, lifeless, and sad, honestly. Cold, lifeless, and sad. So yeah, that's just a kind of brief overview. That it is by no means a exhaustive list, obviously. Because there's more than I'm listing here, obviously. How reliable do you find the Golden Dawn pentagram and hexagram rituals for invocation versus old school grimoire rituals? Can you please point me to any in particular? Because I don't like the heptameron. I think it's the heptameron. The one where you're, like, basically forcing the Greek gods and the names of others, like, you're basically forcing the Greek gods and the names of the planets to serve you. Yeah, no, I don't like that. That's a terrible idea. I don't like working with pagan gods, but I also don't like pissing them off either. I have a healthy respect for them. How about that? Yeah. Yeah, for example, wouldn't they swarm around things like power plants or other high energy generation areas? What is the importance of doing the LBRP and the LBRH daily? When you're a beginner and when you are first starting a practice, vary. When you get it more advanced and you end up having and developing your own practice, not. I do not do the LBRP and the LBRH nearly as much in my personal practice as some people claim you need to, but I am much farther in my personal practice than a lot of people who watch my channel, so, you know, do as I say, not as I do here, because what I do won't work for you. And I would like for people to watch my channel and be able to do workable magic. I actually don't think, I actually, if I remember correctly, most people I can think of now don't really do that kind of stuff in their magical practice nearly as much anymore. Just because they're kind of, they're kind of past it. But yeah. Wong Jason, thank you for the $1. I appreciate it. I'm not seeing a message, though. I'm not seeing a message at all. But I still thank you for the $1. You jest at paranormal investigative shows, but how else could we expect an average person to process these entities? We don't. But at the same time, they don't. They don't process the entities. They 9 times out of 10, if a ghost is messing with people, they're gonna come to us. By us, I mean the people who work with spirits and, like, know what they're doing when it comes to the paranormal and the like. Not because they, it's not like a problem, but most people don't need to know how spirits function, right? I need to know how spirits function because, like, I explain it to everyone on this channel. But, Joe Schmo, the subway worker, the guy who works at the local subway who makes sandwiches all day and loves making sandwiches, the general manager of the subway, does not need to know how spirits work. Unless he suddenly gets a vision from, like, the sandwich god. And then he ends up needing to, like, find out how spirits work because some sandwich god told him, like, hey, you need to come talk to me. We need to have a chat about sandwiches. Right? Which that in and of itself is weird enough to where I think there is a adequate display of hyperbole to where people know that I am taking the ever-loving piss out of Joe the sandwich shop worker. But at the same time, you really don't need to. You're gonna turn that off. You really don't need to. Have you dealt with a ghost for someone? Yes. Moving on. Zoom. Yeah, I have dealt with ghosts for people. It's not something I commonly do. I've also dealt with negative entities, malicious spirits. I've dealt with what most people would call demons. What most people would call demons, but I would call parasites. Very strong parasites, but at the same time, still just parasites. So, I'll give the devil his due when he earns it. How about that? How do you deal with spells going wrong? Like that. How do I deal with spells going wrong? That's a good question. So, spells going wrong is something that you're gonna have happen. I do consulting associated with this channel, and I've told people, like, hey man, don't feel bad for not knowing something. I have failed more spells than most people have even attempted. Which, statistically, is actually 100% true, because I don't think most people are doing, like, ceremonial magic. But there is also a case of you need to know what kind of failure it is, right? Why you failed, and can you fix it or do you need to recast, right? I've had a lot of magical successes, had a lot of magical failures, and I'm just gonna say it, lots of magical failures sometimes are just really funny, right? Like, sometimes magical failures are just incredibly funny. So, the dopamine hit when the spells work is so real. No, it really is, dude. It really is. I know people who stop doing magic and they get, like, annoyed because now they can't do magic. But then again, I also have people who do magic and it's like, what should I do? I have a problem, and my answer is, have you considered doing magic? And it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like, I can just solve my problem by literally doing wizard shit. And it's... My answer at this point, my problem at this point is that, like, if people tell me they have a problem, I will ask them first, have you done magic for it? And usually the answer is no. And then I'm like, well, found the problem. Found the second half of the problem, really. But yeah. That's my problem. Oh yes, the sandwich god, the burger lord. How do you deal with spells going raw? Yep. Stare longingly into the fridge for the sandwich god, pondering the fridge. Yes. Is it possible to accidentally summon a spirit without knowing? Yes, it is. And I would say that, it's more dangerous for people who end up accumulating a lot of magical power, which is to say people who do, like, people who, you know, start actively trying to do magic frequently will usually have this problem. Okay. There we go. Yeah, people who do magic a lot can accidentally summon spirits with a name. But you need to be saying it a lot for that to happen. And if you're saying it that often to where a spirit is, like, you called? Like, what's going on here? Right? If you end up saying the name that much to where a spirit is like, dude, what are you doing? What are you calling me for? You have a problem, and you need to stop and change whatever subject you're talking about. Because there is no reason why a spirit should be conjured up that much if you're doing that. Is it advisable to work with the phases of the moon while doing magic? Yes, it is advisable. People have been doing it for literally thousands of years. It is a very common and is one of the most important... The moon is the most important planet for knowing when to time something. Straight up. Like, when you're checking to do your magical... Like, when you're about to do a spell casting, doesn't matter what planet you're checking, also check the moon. Because of the lunar void, of course. I have an entire video of that. Why the moon is important. There's also other resources you can use on it. But I would say that the moon is probably the best. What would you consider a good home or personal protection spell for beginners? LBRP, unless you are getting into magical conflicts. And or if you are trying to call up something that is rather nasty and known for being rather nasty. See very particular Demons of the Goetia. By the way, if you are asking the question and you're trying to call up very particular Demons of the Goetia, why? Don't call them up if you don't have a good banishing. I mentioned this a lot. You know, please don't cast, like, don't summon spirits that you can't banish, please. That's not good. No one wants to deal with that. Not good, all things considered. I come into this level with a really low health, so I need to actually, like, think. Oh boy. So now I shall. Yeah, can you explain... like, I've had spells work, but they don't seem to go anywhere, or the results are very hit and miss. If the results are hit and miss, make sure that you're putting in enough energy for the spell to function. And make sure you are very clear about what you want. And if you're working with a spirit, a little known fact is you should be making sure that the spirit knows what you're talking about, because sometimes elementals don't. And I know elementals are very basic spirits that a lot of people start with. when it comes to magic. So yeah, make of that what you will. When I think of the phrase home defense, sometimes just as the founding fathers intended pops into my head. That's why you bring a musket for home defense. Just like the founding fathers intended. They're infighting. We're gonna let them infight. We're gonna let them infight, and then we're gonna clear house. How about that? Yep. What is the safest spirit to work with other than angels? The Olympic planetary spirits. I think I've answered this a couple times. It is the Olympic planetary spirits. They are the simplest and easiest spirits to work with. Those are going to be the spirits you want to work with as a beginner. Straight up, just full stop. Don't worry about it. They are the ones you want to work with as a beginner the most. Okay. We're good. Yep. Made it. Yeah, so the Olympic planetary spirits are going to be the ones that you are going to want to work with the most. Those are going to be the beginner spirits that I think most people are going to find completely. We're going to save scum there. Okay, so, yeah. Alright, making sure... Void, of course, turns some spirits insane, apparently. Yeah, it turns lunar spirits insane. I thought because my magic never works as well when it's the wrong moon phase. Yeah, so if the moon is void of course, magic straight up won't work. Which is the most annoying thing, because I can't tell you how many times I've planned a ritual, checked void of course, and then the moon was void of course, and then I had to reschedule like an entire hour's worth of magic, because by hours I mean like hours worth of prep, because guess what? Can't do magic when the moon's void, of course. You just can't. You could, but it won't work right, which is annoying. I wish it did, but it doesn't, so I can't, and I don't. Because I'm not going to waste my time, and neither should you, doing magic that won't work. Or like a... yeah, there is. Okay, cool. Awesome game, by the way. Yeah, this is, by the way, this is Dusk by New Blood. This is just a really good game. This is made by the guy who did Iron Lung, for those of you familiar with both of those. He made this before Iron Lung, and Dusk is just an amazing game. Okay, cool. Was it? A lot of new books on magic claiming a license to depart is enough and skip banishing. Those people are stupid. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. They're not stupid, but... Alright, let me explain why that's a problem with a history lesson. So, let me explain why this is a problem with a history lesson real quick. Is that the crossbow from Heretic? No, it came from this first, actually. So, for those of you who don't know, there was a time when all writers were basically banish, banish, banish. To the point where everyone started realizing maybe we're banishing a little too much, right? So then, people stopped banishing nearly as much. This, unfortunately, turned into a case of, well, maybe... well, how much do we actually need to banish? So, it's a case of... we started with banishing too much, and now we're not banishing enough because of an overcorrection. Yeah, we gotta go to the mines. So now, people are not banishing nearly as much and think, oh, you don't need to banish nearly that much. When in actuality, you kinda sort of do. Or at least you should be banishing more than modern occult books are telling you to, I would say. I think that's a better way to put it. Banish more than the modern occult books say, but don't banish as much as the really old occult books say, which is like banished like 7 times or whatever. That's a hyperbole, or at least it should be a hyperbole. Anyways, yeah. How do you evaluate and adjust your practice over time? When you are doing an initiation, you don't. You just do what you're doing, and after you have finished your initiation, then you experiment. A lot of things on this channel that I mention are due to experimentation, and I got told something by somebody, tried it, it worked, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep that as part of my practice, and I've kept it as part of my practice over time, and I share it with you guys. That happens more times than a lot of people would guess. It also makes it an absolute nightmare to cite my sources properly, because I don't know where I got things, but they work, and I've been using them for years. People sure do love their extreme. Yeah, no, the banishing thing is an overcorrection. How much does the universe like to monkey's paw magic? It just seems like half the warnings is genie-proofing your intent. Okay, so this is an interesting question. And I'm gonna answer this to my experience and my understanding. Very rarely will the universe monkey's paw your magic. Unless... This is the important bit, so pay attention. Unless there is literally no other option for it to actually manifest. Because if you do that, right? If there is literally no other way for your magic to manifest, then it will be a problem. Then the magic can monkey's paw. But unless you know, if you have, like, a lot of ways for the magic to manifest, and you're, like, loose enough with your statement of intent that it can manifest in a variety of ways, but specific enough that it can manifest, you know, it can manifest properly, you usually won't have any issues. Okay, so. Do things like vegetarian diet or no-fap help with magical perception or something? Yes and yes, in different ways. I absolutely hate that, but yeah. Do banishing rituals change depending on the spirit type? I have answered this in a video on banishing rituals. Yes. I think I did. Did I not answer that in the banishing rituals video? I thought I did. Yeah, so that banishing rituals should change with what you're doing. You don't banish a pagan god the way you banish a demon. You don't banish an elemental the way you banish a demon. I noticed magic manifests almost exactly like the visualization I had in my head during the ritual. Well, as close as possible, at least. I mean, that's like the best case scenario, hopefully. I know it doesn't work that way for a lot of people, but that is the best case scenario. Like, that's ideally what we want to happen. I'm gonna just... There we go. Cool. Yeah, that is not exactly normal. Nice shot, Red Form. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so the vegetarian diet and the no-fap stuff, they help you in 2 different ways. Restricting your diet is going to restricting your diet is going to improve your magical senses just because it's a restriction, and restrictions improve your magical ability. Just overall, as like a rule of thumb, in case you're wondering, ways to improve your magical ability. Spiritual fasting. This includes vegetarian diets, if you're doing them for spiritual reasons. If you're just like, I'm a vegan, or like, I'm vegetarian, then it won't work that way. But if you're doing it for like, I am doing the Daniel fast because that is what the Lord told Daniel to do, that kind of thing, then it's different. So make of that what you will, but that is my answer there. So yeah. Also, the other one, it allows you to accumulate and concentrate your creative energy. So if you think about blood, that is life force. Correct door opened. Okay, cool. That is life force. Forgot about the PNG ghost. And the other stuff is creative force. There we go. So that's going to be creative force, and that will allow you to visualize better. And from experience, yes, they do actually help. They do actually help, yes. As insane as that might sound to you. I heard those guys, and they actually fucking... That got me. I jumped. Oh, God. This game has jump scares. I struggle with raising energy during a spell, so fasting might help. Yeah, fasting and no-fat helps. At least, like, 3 weeks beforehand. Also, here's a tip. If you are having problems with magical energy before a ritual, make a song playlist to hype yourself up to do a magical ritual before you do it. Unironically, have like a magical hype list. I have a magical hype list. My friends have magical hype lists. The friends who do magic anyways. I don't think the friends who don't do magic have magical hype lists. If they do, that's very strange of them. But yeah. Yeah. So, you're going to want a magical hype list, and the magical hype list is to... Oh, wait, I have to yell it for The magical hype list is to get you excited to do a ritual. Your video on candle magic said to let the candles burn all the way down. The website says they burn for 3 hours. Am I to hang out and watch them burn for 3 hours? Which website is it? Which website is it? And you don't need to, but they should be like you shouldn't leave a candle unattended, but you don't need to be in your ritual room the entire time. Like, just make sure that they're not gonna burn your house down, dude. Make sure that you're not gonna have a problem and that you're like close enough to where if they're an issue. Like, don't go to the grocery store. Like, practice fire safety, but don't, like, you know. Die, please. Cool. Yeah, don't, like, Amazon. Yeah, no, that's normal. Just have them in the candle holder, you'll be fine. Like, have them in the candle holder. Don't, like... Alright. Don't just go, like... walk off and be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the store now that I've done my ritual, and I'm gonna go get a new job that's gonna fall into my lap, right? Like, don't do that, because that's just Yeah, that's just a terrible idea. That in and of itself is, you know what? There we go. Fixed it. Yeah, so you can just let the candle burn, but don't, like, be close, right? Just have it, like, close by, and, like, check on it every so often, make sure it's good, make sure it's not an issue, keep it away from flammable things, you know, practice basic fire safety. If you need to leave the house or you need to go out and do things, you know, you need to go shopping and all that stuff. If you need to go out and do shopping, don't just, like, leave the thing burning, obviously. I don't mind watching them, I don't want to mess something up. Yeah. I mean, it's more of a candle safety. It's more of a fire safety thing, right? Like, the keep watching the candle is not the magical advice. That is a fire safety is important if you're working with fire advice, right? Like, you don't need to, like, meditate on the candle the entire time. Wait until the ritual is actually done first. Candle lifespan include. Yeah. Like, you can leave after you're... Like, after the candle is done its thing, right? This is the most annoying part of this. Because they don't give you shotgun ammo, they only give you... There we go. You know. Like, when people say watch the candle, we're not saying, like, meditate on the candle for 3 hours. Like, that's insane. That is absolutely nuts. You should be meditating for a while. You shouldn't meditate for, like, 5 minutes and just say, oh, I've done a candle spell. I've meditated for 5 minutes on this candle thing. Right? You should be meditating on it for a while, but at the same time, you shouldn't be like... Yeah. Meditate on it for a while, just also practice candle safety after you're done watching it actively. Value dollar Quake. You say that, but you're right. It is value dollar Quake. This actually came out in, like, 2016, I think. So it's new Quake, basically. That's Aubrey Mellon level of focus, not for everyday intensity. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I would like shotgun ammo, game. If you could give me some shotgun ammo. Beyond a measly 6 shells, that would be approved. You don't like sigils, why? Sigil magic? I don't like... Okay. Alright. I don't like sigil magic because it is the most hit-and-miss kind of magic in my experience, right? I don't like things that don't work. Sigil magic doesn't work for me. So I don't like it. Like, you know, I care about things that work, I want things to work, and sigil magic doesn't work nearly as well as I would like it to. For the amount of hype it gets. Like, sigil magic is very low effort magic, which is fine. But, you know, I like doing magic that actually, like, you know, I'm just not a fan. Now, does sigil magic have its place? Absolutely. Do I do sigil magic despite the fact that I'm not, like, a big fan of it? Absolutely. Do I do it as, like, the main part of a ritual? No. Do I use it to supplement rituals I'm already doing? Yes. What did I miss? Okay, that one I know missed. I've had a little success with... I've had a lot of success with sigil magic. I just don't like it as much as candle magic. Oh, God. It's not that I, like, sigil magic is terrible. Everyone doing sigil magic is a heretical demon, right? It's more that I think sigil magic is overblown for what it gets you. That is a better way of putting it, I think. Right? Because it's not that sigil magic is bad. It's just that I don't like it. Right? So yeah, may that what you will. The ultimate double-barreled tool of exorcism. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like chaos sigil magic. Okay, cool. Yeah, like, when it comes to magic, my go-to is definitely going to be, candle magic. For the most part, just because I like candle magic, I like burning things, and there's some stuff that I could use to prove it, or to, like, talk about how, like, oh, Socrates and Plato, they said that you should always have a candle or lights burning. But it's really just because I like the fire, and I think that fire is more magical, which is attested to. But by sigil magic, are you talking about improv chaos sigil? Oh, yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about when I say sigil magic. Like, when I'm talking about sigil magic, I mean, like, turn a sentence into a statement of intent, turn it into letters, cross out the duplicates, cross out the vowels, you know, like, that kind of sigil magic. A lot of people burn sigils. Like, yeah. There we go. Some bear them. Yeah. Some do. The 9% magic is... So 90% of magic is cast a proper circle, have a good statement of intent, light a candle, pray super hard, and banish. I mean, for certain kinds, yes. It's usually more than that, because there's magical formulas and stuff, which... those are important in and of themselves. I still get confused at the making of sigils and minimizing the lettering. Game has fast gunplay. Been listening to Libra Null. Yeah. Yeah, the chaos improv sigils is not a... those are what I'm not a fan. But if you're talking about like sigils as in like evocation sigils, absolutely love those. Totally fine with those. Staple of magic. S tier. Other phrases here, moving on. Yeah. What is it like to visualize for you, or how well can you visualize? I can visualize pretty well. Like, I am at the point in my visualization ability where I can meditate and I can come up with something and I can see it in perfect clarity, but I cannot get it in physical reality. Because, like, I'm at that level. Like, I can visualize you the most interesting blue mug that you've ever seen. But if you ask me, hey, Dave, can you draw that blue mug? No. I like to draw. I enjoy making sigils. More power to you, my guy. More power to you. There is definitely worse things to do. There's definitely worse kinds of magic, I'll put it that way. It's not like... Yeah. Could be doing like emojis. Ugh. It's so much to learn in terms of magic. This stream is clearing up the misconceptions, though. This is why we're getting the beginner stream dedicated. I have a bunch of Q&As, or I have a bunch of questions. Well, you guys have a bunch of questions, I have a bunch of answers, hopefully. While I play a video game about shooting animated scarecrows. I find 12 gauge management so viscerally satisfying in video games. Absolutely. What do you think about the difference between clairvoyance and mediums? The difference is because mediums are claiming to talk to the dead and spirits when they do stuff. Their stuff is more suspect. However, clairvoyants are just claiming to get the visions and the stuff, so their stuff, at least they're not lying about where they get their information if they are lying. That being said, you can develop a nice clairvoyance practice by learning to scry. Video has been recorded and is on the Patreon. Which, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, thank you guys for 1,500 on YouTube. Really happy about that. I'm actually still surprised that y'all keep... I am still surprised by the amount of support this channel gets. I'll be real, but... Yeah. I've read that clairvoyance is developed, mediums are born. Mediums, if that is the case, every person I know who has been born a medium is in a constant state of sadness and suffering. And I feel bad for them. Not like actually, but like shitposting. You're welcome. Oh. Thanks, Caleb. I appreciate everyone. Yo. How you doing? How's it going, Angel26? Many YouTube magic channels are fluff or lies, so I'm glad your channel is growing. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, I try. I try to make sure people find it. I changed the intro so y'all share it out in, like, the least intrusive way. I hope people share my videos in, like, a, yo, check this guy out, he's telling the truth about magic and shit, yo, kind of way. By the way, this is the CEO of New Blood. I follow him on Twitter. Not my occult Twitter, though. Mini YouTube magic, yeah. Also, I apologize that I apologize to the people who were expecting the LBRP video today, or yesterday. I'm sorry about that. I misremembered. It is actually next week. That being said, that video is coming out. So, yeah. Don't be surprised. We love your channel. You're an amazing teacher. I'm very happy to have a channel like this where people can just, like, come and ask me questions. And I get to sound like a disappointed teacher. Not because they're not trying to learn, but because all the other teachers seem to be telling them lies. Or at least misinformation. A lot of people on this platform talk about like nonsense and stuff. Where What is going on here? Where... Up here? Yep. What is the difference between summoning a spirit in a crystal ball or mirrors? Also, do you use a seal ring like what Solomon said? I do not have a seal ring because I don't have a good way of making one. I almost made one a few years ago, and then I got told by every spirit under the sun and moon to go do the Abramelin, so I ended up doing the Abramelin and never got the ring. I almost have it, though. I almost got it. No hose for me? Okay, why do you say so many 40k-like things in terms of magic, like doing unprotected magic, getting swarmed by parasites, and those born seeing spells suffering from it because of experience? Is that magic system so on point? No, they just took a lot of heavy inspiration. Other teachers ask for thousands of dollars for nonsense advice or spells. Hey, if you want to give me thousands of dollars for nonsense advice and spells, I am available. But I'll tell you, like, how to never contact me again if you give me $1,000. That's my way of looking at it. Like, if you pay me $1,000, you should never have to talk to me again. Like, that's my way of thinking about it. Like, I will give you the entire method. Like, here, look. I don't know why you're talking to me. I'll take your money, but, you know, here, do this. Never have to talk to me again. Oh, boy. Yeah, so much BS on TikTok now. See, here's why I'm a good occultist. You ready? I don't go on TikTok. I don't go on TikTok. So I don't see that nonsense. Because if I did, it would make me mad. So I just don't. Because I value my sanity. That's right, a book level money. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not saying you guys need to give me $1,000. I'm just saying, if anyone is crazy enough to want to give me $1,000, why? And here we fight a boss. God, these guys have a lot of health. I forgot about that. Oh, boy. TikTok is a burden to humanity. I mentioned this in the meditation guide that I put up, the occultic manual on meditation. But if your attention span is lacking, first thing you should do, turn off your phone. Don't even try to meditate. Just go without your phone for a day. Unironically. Just do that. Like, be away from your phone. There we go.
They were.
Yeah. Like, if you're having problems with meditation, just don't. Just don't. I was listening to Glitch Bottle. They were talking about paper crowns for goetic rituals. They better be consecrating that paper the way they do in the Greater Key. Shaking my fist like an angry old man. Shaking my fist like an angry old man. No, but seriously, a lot of people have been resorting to using paper stuff, and you know what? More power to you, but no. No, that ain't... Miss me with that. I'm not doing that crap. That sounds like nonsense. Straight up. That sounds awful. Saw one guy selling evocation circles for the same as a used Volkswagen and was like, no. You know what? If you need an evocation circle, go to a print-on-demand service that, like, does canvas prints. 9x9 canvas print. You can get a canvas print for, like, $100 of a high-quality HD print of the Greater Key of Solomon on canvas in black ink for about $130, roughly. Roughly, last time I checked. It's been a while since I found the website. Straight up, just go to a print-on-demand store. They will do it, no questions asked, because it is not their job to care. Funny enough, most people don't care if you're buying occult stuff from them if it's not their job to care. Most people. Most. I listened to him chant mantras, baking king paper crowns for goetic rituals, very American. Have it your way, king. I feel like if I ever wore a paper crown in a goetic ritual, they would look at me like, are we seriously doing this right now? I think they would be very upset with me. Straight up. This is where we now get to use the shotgun basically full time, I think, right? Yep, it is. Whoa. Ooh, right. What is the name of that site? You have to Google it. I don't remember. But I know you can get it, because I did price it, and somebody else priced it, and they were like, yo, Dave, Goetic Sigil for $100. Or, like, the entire thing. And we were both like, that is remarkably tempting. Like, disturbingly so. The urge, as an occultist, to buy a canvas print of the circle practice from the Lesser Banishing, or the Lesser Key of Solomon. So I just pulled out a sword and my shooter. Yeah. Okay, how do you meditate properly? You remove your thoughts, you just allow your thoughts to kind of exist. You don't try to think, you just allow your thoughts to happen. You don't force them. If you have thoughts, kind of ignore them and starve them of attention so they go away, and then eventually you will be left with a tranquil mind that is free of any distractions. So that's how you do that. I like to sit down in a chair, ideally. I have a slightly... You want to also make sure that whatever you're sitting in, like whatever your position in, is comfortable enough to where you can relax, but not comfortable enough to where you'll be able to fall asleep easily. If you have that problem, there are certain sitting positions that if you fall asleep or you start to fall asleep, your body will like get into a really messed up position. Well, not like a super messed up position, but it will be like uncomfortable to be in the position for a long term. And so your body will be like, hey, stop it. And then you like tense back into the normal position for meditation. Very helpful. Can I teach you that? No, because one, I'm not going on camera. And two, I don't remember what it's called, but that position does exist. Drive the tank closer. I want to hit them with my sword. Yeah, really. Is there a way to test spirits to make sure they're not parasites? Yes, there is. There is multiple ways. You can test to make sure that they know how to spell their name backwards. You can test them to make sure they are who they say they are, or you can make them swear that they are who they say they are through the full divine force and righteousness of the Lord God. That last one some don't tend to like very much. Because they think it's kind of rude. And depending on the spirit, you can also test them in very subtle ways. The very subtle ways being, ask them a question that only they would know. What do I mean by that? Well, if you go and talk to the Archangel Raphael and ask him what his planet is, you can ask him what sign the planet Mercury is in. And if he tells you the right sign, you can ask him what degree it's in. Continuing on. You can ask questions like that in order to do it better. That's one of the verification methods. There's a lot of verification methods. But the long and the short of it is you're going to want to ask questions that they're not going to be able to know if they're not who they say they are. That really is the bulk of how you do it. I know an old school method in the grimoires is to... What? An old school method in the grimoires is to... go ahead and project their sigil at them. And if they're not the right sigil, they will actually have an issue with it. As kind of interesting as that sounds. Interesting. Oh, and here's where you get the sword secret. You could probably... I know you probably won't believe me, but I made myself clairaudient. I hear a constant ringing, sometimes sharp lefts, sometimes sharp rights. I think it's a crude form of spirit communication. That might be called tinnitus. And unfortunately, that's not good. But that is a very common method of hearing spirits, or hearing that spirits are present and actively trying to get your attention, I should say. So, that is not uncommon. But if it's a constant ringing in your ears, you should probably get a second opinion from a doctor, because that sounds like tinnitus. Oh, boy. So do pagan gods like Zeus get offended if you try and test them by swearing to God? You don't swear to God. You don't call it God. You say the Most High. And you usually don't need to spirit test gods. If you need to spirit test a god, that in and of itself is a spirit test. Sword. It's not tinnitus. I just needed to check. Just needed to make sure. Can you blame me? I could see thinking that. Yeah, no, it's just a... We do need to apply a little bit of, there's a fine line between, like, occultism being 100% mental and 100% spiritual. And I feel like some people do too much of one, none of the other. And sometimes it's important to remember that doctors exist for a reason. Not that you need to go to one. But, yeah. Well, what if Zeus is trying to get close to your wife? Then I think that's confirmation, right? That's confirmation that it's actually Zeus. I feel like that in and of itself might just be a confirmation. The scarecrow deaths are hilarious. No, it happens in certain ways that make it me... Certain it's not. It's dull at times, almost inaudible. Yeah, no, that's a sign that spirit might be around. Depends on you, though. You think it? If you think that's the case, then it probably is. Probably like. There we go. Good point. Yep. Yeah. Spirit tests are a whole thing in and of themselves, and I'm going to say that if you are beginning to do evocation, you should be doing them by the grimoires, and if you are doing them by the grimoires have spirit tests that you should be using. That being said, if you're not doing them by the grimoires, do them based on whatever book you are using. You know the Gallery of Magic has quite a few books on evocation. If you are planning on using those, use those. I don't remember if these guys have assault rifles or shotguns in here, so... There we go. They have death. I have the shotgun. I'm superior. Wahaha. Could you please teach us the basics of healing magic? I don't think I can, just due to... Yeah, they have shotguns, or they have assault rifles. Right-click to detonate the grenade. Oh, I forgot how this weapon works, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, Caleb, I don't know if I can do that. Basically, my answer there is pray to, be my doctor in 1500 princesses having convulsions, have no idea what's wrong with her. She has them witchery twitches. Burn her, I am a smart doctor, get paid. Thank you, Opera, for both the meme and the $5. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, so, Caleb, most of the time you're just going to want to pray to Raphael and ask him what to do. And if Raphael can't answer it, well, you've got some problems. Or if Raphael says nothing I can do, call up a demon. Call up a demon immediately. I'm just ruining this fight scene by just lobbing nades. I mean, they give it to me, so I don't really care, but whatever. Yeah. Ever experience any kind of visions? Intentional or unintentional? Usually when I'm trying to do divination, I will get visions, depending on the topic. Depends on the topic, though. And it's not all the time. It really depends. Because sometimes when I'm going through and I'm doing an operation, I will get visions based on the visualizations. When I'm doing scries, obviously I'm going to get visions because, you know, scrying is basically like a fancy way of saying intentional visions. Go. Gallery of Magic did a book on the 72 Angels. Didn't seem to yield any results for me, but that's probably my lack of focus at the time. Yeah, Gallery of Magic is very... I would say Gallery of Magic is good, but Gallery of Magic, in my opinion, is kind of sort of a bit of a mess sometimes. Definitely not the worst, not by any means, but am I going to actively recommend them? Very rarely will I actively recommend them, though I do reference their materials sometimes for my own personal use. That scrying PDF is amazing, by the way. Oh, the Benjamin Rowe one? Opera, which scrying PDF are you talking about? The one I recommended in the video? intentional. Sounds like Raphael is hinting that God is planning to reap or in between. Yeah. Yeah. Gallery of Magic is legit, but yeah. Gallery of Magic is legit, but Gallery of Magic is also... Gallery of Magic is more legit and less legit than I care to say. I would say that they're like... There are some things Gallery of Magic does and has done in the past and continues to do that I am not a fan of, such as not citing their sources. Which is kind of ironic, considering it's me. I'm saying that I don't cite my sources because of stuff, but I can usually point you in the right direction. Gallery of Magic doesn't do that, even. So their stuff is like Gallery of Magic, due to the fact that it's so well attested, is basically like a step up from Trust Me, It Came to Me in a Dream, bro, in terms of citations. But it is attested by people who have actually done it, which makes it actually worth looking into. I would argue that it's not terrible. I'm just not a fan the majority of the time. But I've done some of their stuff. There's some of their stuff is pretty good. I had good results, but I would never recommend the Gallery of Magic. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm... Like, I don't think people who have done the Gallery of Magic's works would say that they're bad. But, like, they're aggressively inconsistent, is how I want to say. Like, they're not bad books, but they're just kind of bland. Like, they're very beginner-oriented, and I think that that's a problem, right? Because I don't... And again, I realize that I'm kind of being an ode to hypocrisy here by saying that they're, you know, kind of beginner, because this channel, very much, when I set out to make it, was not a beginner occult channel. We're doing a Q&A about beginner occult stuff. So make of that what you will. So yeah. What is Gallery of Magic? Gallery of Magic is a group that got really popular in recent years. Their whole thing is that they do books on occultism, mostly over Amazon. They're kind of this entire, you know, they're kind of this Amazon-only self-published occult group. They're not bad by any means. Their spirit catalogs are great for the information in them, but the methods in those spirit catalogs I absolutely abhor. Because... Can somebody remind me, doesn't the Gallery of Magic have you, like, doing an 11-day ritual for the Angels of the Shemhan Farash? Like, an 11-day ritual for Shem Angels. That sounds insane to me. It's like a fast food version of a grimoire. I wouldn't go that far. Like, if... Okay. Here's a good way of putting it. If what I'm doing is the cooking show, they are TV dinners. They are TV dinners. You can just pick them up, do them. You will get results. You might even like them. But they're never going to be like, yeah, I marinated a chicken for 12 hours and put it into the air fryer level of good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going on with the Gallery of Magic. Yeah, it's 11 days. Yeah, that's way too long. That's way too long for Shem Angels. Where am I going? I don't know. Probably turn the flashlight on if I'm going into the depths. Yeah. Most Gallery Magic books don't seem to stress safety or understanding. I simply invoked a spirit made popular by them without a proper ritual. My fault, and got physically punished. Or physically pushed. Oh, yeah! Yeah, because they basically try to idiot-proof their sigils and everything. So, Gallery of Magic tries to make everything kid-friendly, basically. Not kid-friendly, but, like, beginner-friendly as possible. Which... I don't know about you. But, I don't think that's a good idea for everything, but they tried to do it with Enochian, and that's the part where I drew that was the last straw I drew. So, yeah. Because other things are often more effective, or was it an issue with the process? Other things are more effective, and their process is often very confusing, and they're not generally citing their sources, but they are good for if you need, like... If you are intimidated by the stuff that I talk about on this channel, which I know a lot of people are. Like, I know, I'm not going to get it twisted. I know a lot of people see my channel, compare it to other occult channels, and they go, okay, you're talking about stuff that is definitely true, because you're using the same words as these other people. Oh, boy. But it's going to be completely different from those other people's channels. And not necessarily in the way most people are, like, familiar with thinking about. Because, like, you know, when I say Golden Dawn Enochian is bad, or anything other than Deep Purist is bad, it's because I'm talking about it from the perspective of somebody who has watched a bunch of people be like, yeah, Enochian is totally fine. I do Enochian all the time, and they're in, like, a Golden Dawn initiatory system. And by system, I mean a lodge, where they have people, you know, where they have the protection of the lodge system, make sure they're not going crazy. But, you know, Joe Schmo on the street, who's being talked to by the god of sandwiches, apparently, in this metaphor, same Joe, by the way, is not going to know how to do Enochian safely. So he should probably not be working with Enochian. But if you're initiated into the Golden Dawn, and if you're in a, like, actual lodge system, and they tell you, hey, we're going to do some Enochian, that's totally fine. As long as, you know, you do it responsibly and you don't go crazy from it. But yeah. The stare issue belongs to Crowleyism, but yes. You don't intimidate me, I'm impressed with your noses. I mean, I'm not... It's not that everyone's intimidated with me and, like, what I talk about, but I know a lot of people... Alright, better way to phrase this. My channel's a bit of a culture shock. How about that? My channel is a bit of a culture shock when it comes to occultism, because I just talk about, like, pure occultism, more or less, or at least to the best of my ability. And then people are used to, like, seeing other channels either talk about, like, the theology or the not the metaphysics, but the a lot of people are familiar with talking about the how, or the why, not the how, and I talk about the how on this channel. Do you know much about Manly B. Paul? Sorry, one second. Ow. Do you know much about Manly P. Hall? I know only one thing about Manly P. Hall, and that is that he absolutely hated Crowley. I don't really know much beyond that. I've never really been interested in Manly P. Hall because my understanding is that he wasn't actually a practitioner. So if you're not really a practitioner, it takes a lot to get my attention, and he just never did. Your channel's pure gold. Have you... No. Miss me with that shit. Miss me with that. I'm not doing Kimbanda or, yeah, I'm not doing Umbanda or Kimbanda. No. Anything that can be traced back to ATRs is off the menu for me. That is just not a thing that I'm going to do. That is not my wheelhouse. That is not my... I do not have the licenses to learn that, even. Which... Yeah. No, just... He has a book called The Occult Anatomy of Man that's kind of interesting. I mean, that sounds interesting. There we go. Nailed it. I love how you have a deep conversation while killing zombies at the same time. I'm not killing zombies. I'm killing zombies, animated scarecrows, and cultists who have sworn their allegiance to an elder god. They ruined a church. This is personal. And this is normal. ATRs terrify me, to be honest. It seems very involved and spirit intensive. It is very involved and very spirit intensive. But, no. Yeah, no. It's just like, even if I wanted to, I actually cannot be initiated into those for reasons. Okay, yeah. Nokian. Just scrolling up to make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. That's why we're paused. Okay. We have Falmouth in the chat. Have you asked about him about the stair incident? Oh boy. I'm intimidated with my own polema. Okay. For the Emperor and the Church Grandma, yes. Pretty much. Yeah, ATRs, I am a Western ceremonialist who has done the Abramelin. Unless my angel tells me to get into ATRs, that's not gonna happen. And if they do, you will not know, because I will still continue to be talking about Western ceremonial magic on this channel instead of ATRs, because all that stuff was leaked, and I don't need to worry about breaking oaths or revealing it, because it was already revealed by one Mr. Israel Regardi. Thanks, Israel Regardi. We appreciate him in this chat. Do you meditate before your LBRPs? No, I just start into like 5 or 10 minutes of prayer. And just like start like, you know, metaphorically making the universe shake with the amount of prayer I'm doing. This is the... Which boss is this?
Are you prepared for what's next?
No, I'm not prepared for this. I know what is coming next, and I'm not... I don't... Hang on. Yeah. With Shem Angels, I do the name and Psalm verse 3 times before saying the request, but I don't know if they are actually doing anything. Pro tip for those of you who are having problems with Shem Angel magic. full evoke them. Like, full evoke them as in... Do the LBRP. Ask to speak to the Archangel Michael about what you're doing. Then go ahead and then do the thing and make sure that they show up and ask the Archangel Michael to help you get them to show up. I forget how you're supposed to, like, know that one, but now there's a thing. Hang on. Pray right for the first time? Yep. Yeah, so for Shem Angels, for those of you wondering what my MO is, I call them up by doing the Psalm verse. Do the Psalm verse, after the LBRP, ask the Archangel Michael to be present. There's about to be a boss fight. Do you have any good sources on learning about alchemy? I think Francis Bartlett has a book called Real Alchemy if you're interested in learning like the actual like chemistry behind it. God, I hate this horse. You know, I really only know the Francis Bartlett one, honestly. I could have sworn that there was a secret around here somewhere. Quote of the night. Did we finally get through our quote of the night quota? I believe it. This straight up is the worst boss in this game, by the way. For those of you wondering why I'm dying. God, I hate this horse. Yeah. I also hate this horse. Horse is just annoying. Right. By the way, I've mentioned a couple times in really weird and, quite frankly, strange places that horses cannot lie. The reason is because of the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. I found a book called The Path of Alchemy by Mark Stavich. Seems fairly interesting. That book is usually pretty good. Remember when we had to do that boss? Would you like to do it again? Yeah. I love this game.
This is only the beginning.
Mark has been a guest on Glitchball a few times. Yeah, I think so. I've heard nothing but good things about his work, too. I've heard, like, absolutely nothing but good things about Mark Stavich's work. He's one of the better occult authors, I'd say. Fun fact, the smaller the horse, the more evil they are. Personal experience. We'll be saving this for later. Later is now. Yeah, the book seems to have an almost full path of a progression like the Red Brick. I like those. I like it when books have like a full-on... Here is how you do all the work. Like, here is how you do all the magical working and stuff. Where you need to, like... So that you can actually progress. Also, that horse boss might have been bullshit. But... this is a really good set piece. Straight up. Nailed it. Is there a book you recommend on how to do the Obermelon operation in a more modern context? Yes, the Obermelon. How did you do it? Was it by the book, if you can say? You do it by the book as best as you can. The book actually just straight up tells you how to do it right. Like, a lot of people seem to think that, oh, the Obermelon is like an insurmountable... No, it's impossible to do this. When in reality, you can do it fairly easy. It's not nearly as bad as most people claim. Which, you know, that's kind of a shame in and of itself, because we're gatekeeping the ritual basically because Crowley couldn't do it right. Like, Crowley couldn't be bothered to do the Obermelon right, so we just kind of made a... He basically just kind of made a whole thing about how the Obermelon is insane. So did the Thelemites, which, I get it, but it is a incredible undertaking, but it's not nearly as bad as people make it on to be. Make it out to be. But it is, in fact, a insane ritual still. Okay. Alright, let's take these. Rifle bullets. Cool, that's good. Cool, cool, cool. It's actually where I first heard about Kabbalah. Yeah. I believe it. What do you think of Crowley's AQ of Iowa? What do you mean by that? Do you recommend the Obermelon for beginners? Absolutely not. It is my assertion at this point that you will be told when you need to do the Obermelon as a magical practitioner at this point in time. I'm of the opinion that you will be told when to do the Obermelon. But until then, you probably shouldn't do the Obermelon, because you kind of you get like a feeling that you should do it, and then you get more signs, and then spirits start like telling you, and then you ask them, and then it's like, yeah, you're at the point where you need to do the Obermelon now. That's where you're at. Sorry. Well, they don't say sorry, but you know. Basically the equivalent of getting your, like, masters or something? I don't know. I don't really know what the equivalent would be. I need the barrel. Okay. How to succeed at Obermelon, be a responsible member of society? Or be a respectable member of society? Unironically true. You have to be more respectable than, like, 90% of society, though. Which is the hard part. Because, I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of people aren't actually that great. Shocker, I know. But, you basically just need to ignore them. There we go. Cool. I mean, it's actually not, like, a very hard ritual at all. But it is... the reason why people think it's hard is because we're used to thinking of rituals as you do one thing really intensely, and then you're good, right? But the Obermelon is not a do one thing ritual. It is a... It's, you know, it's an endurance run. I think I mentioned earlier, you know, most people are thinking of magic in terms of like a sprint, but magic, you know, the Obermelon is not a sprint. The Obermelon is an endurance run. So yeah. What's the most insane thing you've seen or done with magic? Cannot tell you. But it was very cool, very insane, and it was insane enough to where I was like, yeah, okay. That is absolutely nutty. I don't know how to feel about that. Other than that, like, things I can actually talk about. I did the 30th Enochian Aether. Yeah. Do you think that past lives play into why some people get into magic? I mean, some people, yes. But I generally think that past lives don't really... Past lives are one of those things that people are fascinated by that I think has no bearing on you as a person in the moment, because those are not you. Those are past lives your soul has gone through. Oh, by the way, that guy explodes, in case it wasn't obvious. Flash rods, nice. Yeah, no, I don't think past lives get you into magic nearly as much as people say, but I could be wrong. I prefer to focus on this life instead of my past lives, because what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Go back in time? What am I gonna do? Go back in time? Unbe a person in the past, like, that's... Or re-be a person in the past, like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Just can't do that. People who claim knowledge of past lives immediately give off a list of famous figures, and I call BS then. Alright. Here's gonna be my favorite thing. Ready? There's gonna be a person who we're gonna knows his past lives. Because he's gonna be like, I was a farmer in medieval Europe. And I was enjoying my nice life with my family. And then the king came, and he said that I made the best bread in the land. I said I was a farmer, but it's a baker now. And he's gonna be like, and the king said that my bread was the best in the land, and he asked me to make him 24 loaves, and I was amazed. But then I couldn't afford the wheat, and I went bankrupt, or something like that. Some insane story that would be a historical footnote. They're gonna say that, and everyone is gonna be like, that's weird, how do you know that? Right? But when it's like, I was a historical figure, and I did X, Y, and Z in my past lives, it's like, no, you didn't. Right? Like, you're only gonna know somebody's actually remembering their past lives when they remember the really boring ones. And, you know, I say boring, but, like, I mean boring in context of, like, history. Yeah. Now that's actually a believable story. Exactly. But no one cares about Farmer John, the 18th century peasant who, you know, died of the plague, right? I'll start believing the people about past lives when they start talking about how they died of the plague. How about that? Or, like, they wanted to be a pirate, and then they ended up losing a leg and dying of scurvy on the ship. Right? Solidarity, comrade, yeah. I'll believe people had past lives when they start having empathy for the dead plague victims. How about that? How experienced do you think a person should be to regularly perform the Steel of Aeon? Experienced enough to where they won't fry their brain from doing it too much. Don't do the Steel of Aeon if you're gonna fry yourself. Just simple as that. There we go. My aim is garbage today. Whatever. Maybe they get one historical figure, not 5 or 6. Alright. I want to think about the implications of past lives being one per... Like, everyone getting 5 or 6 historical figures as their past lives real quick, right? Just humor me for a second. I'm going somewhere with this. That means that there's only 5 famous people in history. There are 5 famous souls in all of history. Right? Because if you think about it, if there are... You know, if you think about it like this, right? You get 5 or 6 famous people. They're constantly the same people, right? It's always like this, like, I was this famous person. It's never like some really obscure painter or whatever. It's always like, I was King Charlemagne, and I was Mary, Queen of Scots, and I was the Chinese pirate queen. Okay, I just threw that one out there to see if anyone knew who they were, but, you know. People should be claiming to be her more, honestly. She's much cooler than a lot of people they claim to be. Straight up. Yeah. But if let's take it at face value of, yeah, they were actually all these, like, they are actually all of these famous rich people that remember their past lives. They remember all their old, rich, famous, historical figure past lives. Right? If that is the case, then that means that there are 6 souls who have all of the famous historical moments in history. And that means that those people are the only people whose souls actually do anything of value to be remembered. Which is the most nihilistic take possible. Oh yeah, I forgot you can flip in this. There we go. Cool. So yeah. It's like, what is the point in trying to aspire to history if there's 6 souls who can remember all of their past lives, and those are the only souls of any historical value? I was... Ashtar Sharan? Yeah, exactly. Let's not forget that there's a lot of traditions that have a history of ghosts being unreliable narrators. And what I mean by that is ghosts, like, will say something, but they'll actually be, like, complete liars about it. So, yeah. Make of that what you will. There we go. Man. A witch helped me at past life meditation, and I was not anyone special. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you think about it, statistically, the likelihood of people getting into spirituality and stuff, and also being rich, famous people, is astronomically low. Just from, like, a raw numbers perspective. Am I going? On here? Yeah, like, it's just, what's extra fun is that when they lost multiple people who lived at the same time. Oh, yeah. Like, think about it like this. If you're a past life person, right? Or maybe you were at some tragedy, right? That's another fun one that they like to do sometimes, right? You were at some tragedy. You were an engineer on the Titanic trying to keep the ship from sinking so people could get off. And you supposedly have all of the knowledge that this past life person had. And you don't know what an engine of a boat looks like. You don't know how any of that works. You know what I mean? that kind of thing. We'll flip. Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know. Past lives can be fun, but like I trust them significantly less than people seem to think that they're worth looking into. It's just like a fun, like, whatever thing. God, this time. Engineering Gnosis, like, yeah. Oh, your past life was Nikola Tesla? Build us the death ray. Go on. We'll wait. Maybe don't do that one, but, you know. You can if you want, just to prove it. It's the only way we'll believe you. I had a past life dream. I was a little girl drowned in a bucket by my father in the jungle. See, that's sad enough to where I believe it. What? Oh, right. They fire homing fireballs. Right, I bet.
Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going?
There we go. Cool. Yeah, no. Like, sad past life dreams make more sense. I was some random person who died in a mine cave-in is a lot more believable than I was Charlemagne. So what does the soul gain from past lives? Extra XP. The theory is that you are being refined by your experiences into a perfect soul, basically. So you have to experience a bunch of stuff in order to understand the meaning, because depending on your belief in what the creation myth is, I'm going to give a rather trash version of the Kabbalistic one. When God came into existence, first feeling was boredom. So God split into multiple different beings in order to experience itself. As insane as that sounds. Fuck you. Cool. Alright. I like a code. I've heard this theory that there are a limited number of souls to go around for bodies, and that explains why some people seem soulless. That is not true. People have souls, it's just, There we go. Everyone has souls, but it's not necessarily that they were supposed to be human souls. But they ended up getting incarnated in humans, so... Congrats about the 1.5k subs, by the way. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. I can't think of an existence more intimately boring than omnipotence. Well, alright, imagine you're in omnipotence and there's nothing to do. Because nothing exists. Like, imagine you're going through, you're the only thing that exists, and there's just nothing to do. Nothing. Like, nothing exists yet. The color black doesn't even exist yet to show you darkness. It's just, like, nothing. And you just like, alright, I'm gonna see now. Oh, cool. Now we get to Lovecraftian ruins. Y'all want some Lovecraftian ruins? Everyone loves Lovecraftian ruins. Yeah. Can you tell I've played this game before? I've played this game before. Want that. So some people say they are psychic vampires or not human soul-wise. Do you believe that's where people like that come from? The wrong soul in a human body? I mean, psychic vampires... No. If they say they're not human soul-wise, it's because they want to feel special. Because they want to feel special. It's not because they're actually, like, not human soul-wise. Because when you get incarnated into a human, I'm sorry, you're human. It's just kind of how that works. You can't be unhuman. You're already incarnated, you're already human. Quake 1 was Lovecraft-inspired? Yeah, this is Lovecraft-inspired as well. Well, this is heavily inspired by Quake, so... Don't go in the ruins. We just went in the ruins, yeah. Oh! Those did not register as enemies in front of me until they started shooting. Whoops! This is why I suck at Tarkov. I'm not playing on stream. Don't ask. Call of Cthulhu, the game, gave me enough Lovecraft rooms. Yeah. Lovecraft is interesting if you're an occultist, because Lovecraft was scared of stuff he didn't understand, and then he put a bunch of occult things in his work, which made it very obvious that he did not know occult stuff. But then occultists, as a meme, decided to start pretending like his occult stuff worked. And it started to. We meme too close to the sun. Like Icarus. We flew. We do not have the technology to rip a soul out and implant it in a new body yet. Pray that humanity doesn't figure that out ever. That's called altered carbon. And also the soul would, you know, the consciousness and the soul are not the same thing. We will most likely never have that technology, and people will always die. We will just extend the lifetime to be ludicrously long because, you know. go. So Simon Necronomicon has some truth into it. You want the... Okay, you guys want the tea on the Simon Necronomicon? Everything in the Simon Necronomicon is real. Everything in the Simon Necronomicon, unironically, is a real magical ritual. Every single thing. However, it is not labeled correctly. None of it is labeled correctly. It is all labeled to basically be like LARP. So no Ghost in the Shell in the future? Probably not. Like, just, you know, it's just probably not likely to happen. It's a good fantasy, but, you know. I mean, science isn't going to be able to do it. Science doesn't even know what a soul is. You realize that according to science, souls don't exist? Because you can't measure them? For what can equal the value of one soul? Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's alchemy, not... Whoops. My bad. You're getting on my nerves, sir. Thoughts on if the Simon Necronomicon was written by the Ledevies or not? It was... Okay, the Simon Necronomicon is just Sumerian rituals just turned into the Necronomicon and relabeled as edgy Lovecraft stuff. It's not actually like... Yeah. It's not quantifiable, so it doesn't exist. Isn't science grand? Yeah, exactly. If people didn't smile, science wouldn't be able to tell you that happiness exists. Which is why I say one of my least favorite things is trying to appeal to science using the occult. Because you know how you do that? You go call up a spirit, get cool spirit math, and then bring it to a scientist, and then the scientist goes, "Where did you get this?" And it causes them to have an existential crisis, because like, oh my god, you got this from a fucking ghost? You got this from a ghost? That's bullshit. You didn't get this from a ghost. Show me how you made it. And it's like, no, I got it from a ghost. Doesn't work out. And then you, like, accidentally invented, like, you know, room temperature superconductor. That is a room temperature superconductor in, like, an actual room temperature superconducting way. And not just in, like, a diode kind of way. Which is what they're now claiming LK99 is, for those of you who don't know. Now claiming it's a superconducting diode, basically. No, they just point to dopamine spikes. That's true. I didn't remember dopamine existed. It's been so long. Yeah, they would just point to dopamine spikes. You're right. You're right about that. Yeah, if it isn't quantifiable, science doesn't believe it exists. And you can't really quantify a soul. Which, funny enough, is one of the principles by which magic is theorized to work. Because the soul is infinite. We're just gonna do that. Okay, once it's I'm properly initiated, getting science existential crisis with scientific jump sounds like an awesome pastime. You say that, but, you know, I can never get people to do it. I know many scientists, and they never agree. They never agree to do that, because it would be like, Dave, can't do that, that's unethical. And I'm like, so is not using magic for good or whatever. I just want flying cars already, okay? Which, fun fact, y'all know we can get flying cars right now, right? Y'all know we can get flying cars? So necromancy is just an evocation of dead people, right? Kinda, yes, but there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that, but that is, like, in the most broad strokes possible, yes. Yes, that is in fact how necromancy works. It is evocation of dead people. Well, the spirits of dead people. You're not actually, like, evoking their bodies, because, you know, there's nothing in those. Let's try a little bit of this. Missed. Okay, cool. Yes, but why would you want those crazy drivers to have a car that is even more likely to crash into your house? Well, like, my theory is that the reason why we don't have flying cars now is because the FDA doesn't want to, like, or not the FDA, the, you know, the airline company and that section of the government is basically paying places not to make flying cars because people cannot be trusted with flying cars. Let's be real. If you had a flying car, you know just as well as everyone else that you would still be an asshole driver, and we would get into even worse traffic jams, and now it's above everyone, so little Jimmy walking below the flying car traffic suddenly has a 6-car pileup falling on him. It would be a nightmare, and that's why we don't have flying cars. But scientifically, right now, we could get flying cars. Elon Musk could do it. I believe in him. Will he? No, because he's a coward. It's definitely not for the reasons I just said. Definitely not for the reasons I just said. God, how absolutely annoying this fight is. It's a good fight, but very annoying. Not to mention, imagine to do traffic control in the sky. Yeah, where is the right of way in the sky? Who has the right of way for flying cars? Right? Like, how does that work? The answer is it doesn't work, which is why we don't have flying cars, like, publicly available. Even though it would be really cool if we did. So do you believe that the technology for instantaneous healing exists then and just isn't given to the public for various reasons? I mean, you could make an argument that it is morally wrong to make that technology. That's crazy, Dave. Instantaneous healing would solve so many problems. You're right. But it would also make so every doctor and every person who wants to be a doctor growing up is no longer necessary. And so now we just no longer have doctors, and all the kids who want to become doctors can't. It's very sad. Like, I want to be a doctor. I want to help people. I want to help people get better when they're sick. Sorry, little Jimmy. The machines have taken your job from you. Right? I'm like half joking, but at the same time, like, not really. People need consequences. Yeah, no. I mean, there is every time somebody invents something cool, they disappear. Yeah, well, you have to invent something cool that doesn't replace someone. That makes sense? Like, a majority of the cool things we have nowadays don't replace people. But we're getting to a point where science is trying to now not help people do their jobs, or, like, help people do things, but replace people. Does that make sense? Screw those kids. They can be English majors or something. Right, but now the AIs can write things, so what are the English majors going to do? Like, we're reaching the limits of the utility of science because we've made everything that we want to make. Basically. As weird as that sounds, because that sounds really weird, but, like, if you think about it, tons of industries have died to automation. Right, and now we're trying to kill all the creative ones, so it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, you know, it becomes a case of, like, what is the point of making things if you're just gonna make everyone unhappy by doing it? Like, what is the point of trying to innovate and, like, help people if all of what you're doing is just making everyone more depressed and sad? I mean, I don't think that's a good thing. I hope all of you don't. If you are, why are you on a supervision villain arc? AI is gonna make people dumb? I mean, if you had told me that, like, a week ago, or if you had told me that before the filters, right? Before the filters, I would believe you. But now I don't believe you because I've seen what ChatGPT is like with the filters on, and it's garbage. People are just gonna get fed up, frustrated, and stop using them. Using AI. That's really what's gonna happen. Are we approaching a mercurial apocalypse? No, it's just gonna be like a complete it's gonna be a complete restructuring of how things work. Got themselves twice in the head type of energy for some of those inventors. Well, like, okay, think of it like this, right? The AI people are right for the wrong reasons. Like, the anti-AI people are right for the wrong reasons. They think, oh, it's gonna completely and totally destroy art. Well, yes, it is. But not because some random guy on the internet is not going to be able to make art. It's because everyone's going to be able to make art. And if everyone is able to do something, no one is able to, like, do it unless they have, like, actual quality, right? Wrong door. There. Come here. Do it for a deal. Okay. Yeah, no. Like, people think that it's like, oh, we can just get rid of the doctors. Well, like, what's gonna happen to the doctors that we already have and the nurses who are, you know, actually good people trying to help people? Like, what's gonna happen to them? If everyone is Dave, then no one can really be Dave. Exactly. What you don't seem to understand is I'm the most Dave out of everyone here. If everyone is super, nobody is. Yeah, no, it... I mean, he has a point. Like, he was the villain, but he did have a point. That was the whole premise of his character. Of course, I get one meleeed by Wendigo. Yeah. Think everyone went in here? No, I did not, because I have to come in down below. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just like... There's a trade-off, you know, it's like there's always a trade-off to everything, especially in innovation. Because, like, everyone is like, oh, we can do, like, if we do this, we don't have to do X, like, if we do X, we don't have to do Y anymore. It's like, yeah, but people make their living by doing Y. Right? So it's like, alright, what are those people gonna do? It's like the whole, learn to code miners. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that when they were trying to tell miners to learn to code. It's like, that's not how people work. But it is how economics works. Like, straight up. What do I have? I have Riveter. No, I have no Riveter. I have one hunting rifle. Low on shotgun. Low on everything but mortars. By mercurial apocalypse, I mean machines doing anything and societal collapse due to humans no longer being able to partake in society and complete. I mean, the thing is, if that happens, we're just gonna break the robots. Like, people really overestimate. You know, there was I forget where it was done, but there was a whole thing done where they tried to make robot police dogs, and the local college students because local college students are you know, the ones to do this, made EMPs to, like, break the robots so they could rip them down and sell them for drug money. I think it was drug money, but yeah. It was kind of insane. Like, people do not respect machines as much as, like, you know. Think about it like this. If you get, like, a dog, people, like, naturally like dogs. And naturally like cats. Even if you're not a dog person or you're a cat person, you naturally like them more than you would a machine, right? You're not gonna give your robot, like, you'll give it a name, but you're not gonna care if the blender gets, you know, you're not gonna care if Blendy the Blendo, or Blendo the Blendy, or whatever you're gonna call your robot, like, does anything. It's like the whole problem here, that you can't replace everything. Oh no. I apologize that the second half of these streams usually hard pivots into occult-based philosophy. Like in the Dune franchise, you had the Boolear Jihad, where every computer, robot, and AI was destroyed. Yeah, no, but, like, that's more likely. Like, we're more likely to just get rid of AI than anything else. All hail the Great Thresher. Oh boy. Alright, let's see what this is. Some people have fallen in love with adult dolls. The future is interesting. Yeah. I know. Oh boy, it's this level. Even Star Trek AI and even other androids were viewed with suspicion. I mean, yeah, wouldn't you? Imagine telling somebody you've replaced their boss with an AI. Their boss that has been working at the company for 20 years. And then just expecting them to respect that. No one's gonna respect that. No one respects the robot that just took little old man Johnson's job. Little old man Johnson's been working there for 20 years. He's a loyal company man. From a different time. What's he gonna do? Learn to code? Learn to code the thing that made him have to learn to code? Not cool. Not cool. Poor little old man Johnson. Many people with mid-wit bosses will probably see an improvement. Margaret, your efficiency was down by 0.2%. Improve or you're fired. You will be expelled from the building. You have been terminated for inefficiency. Glory to the machine empire. What was that last part? What? Yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah, the scene where Captain Picard defends Data's consciousness is wild. Oh yeah, no. It straight up is. And I mean, that works in that story, right? Like, it works in that story, but, like... I don't know about you guys, but knowing how AI works really makes that scene... very confused. Did I just like brick myself right here? What's going on here? Oh yeah, Data could be Chat GPT, not gonna lie. Yeah, exactly. No, like... Alright, quick poll in the chat. Has anyone asked Chat GPT how it works? Has anyone actually gone ahead and asked how Chat GPT works? Have you asked how if Chat GPT has a soul? This is the fucking AI scientist who just jump scared me. Yeah. This is a good one for the topic. Blinds and LBRP, real or not real? Not real. Not real. Okay, cool. Data and his brother lore, creepy AF. Yep, I agree. So theoretically, could people use magic to hive mind? No. Well, yes, but no. Not in like the way you're thinking of. This stream took a turn. Took a very bizarre turn. Yeah. Anyways. Cool. Oh, right, yeah. The Shredders killed him. Forgot about that. The second we popularize it, I think. When do we start getting people to start calling it abominable intelligence? Hey man, go on art Twitter. They'll probably do it instantly. I feel like Mercury got mentioned at one point and then moved on to Evil AI. Funny enough, I mentioned how it's Thursday, so Patreon exclusive week, or Patreon exclusive day, and I mentioned how my favorite pentacle in the GKOS is actually one of the Mercury ones. As weird as some people think that might be, considering I seem to only talk bad things about Mercury. But no. No, I do quite like the Mercurial Pentacles in GKOS. I still have a ton of beginner questions, but I need to complete my initiation and practice more. Hail Hecate. I didn't mention Hecate this entire stream. Hecate, somebody asked if I can talk about the peculiars of Hecate. Here I go. Hecate is the Greek goddess of magic. She's really important, and she's generally pretty cool. I don't like her. Well, no, it's not that I don't like her. It's that last time I talked to her, she talked me into reading the Book of the Law, and then proceeded to explain how she knew I wouldn't like it. I'm so confused as to where I'm supposed to go. Supposed to go down here. There. Yeah, this is the red door. Go in here, check here. Let me just... We're not doing that. Alright, cool. You know what? Because I can't find the exit, I'm just gonna call the stream here. I'm gonna call the stream here. So if you guys got any more questions, this has been, well, the title's right there. This is DUSK. I just closed the game on accident. Well, rip me. Good job. Anyways, if anyone has any last questions, I'll give it like 5 or 10 minutes here, and then we'll end it. Of course, my dogs start barking immediately. So yeah. Probably get like some outro music to like contemplate. If anyone knows some like copyright free dungeon synth that I can play at the end of these streams, that'd be great. Dang, that's some levels 90s level design for you. Yeah, well, like that level, I remember there being something you need to do, but I don't remember what it is, so I can't really do it. So yeah, we'll just call it there. It's fine. Hopefully I answered all the questions. I'm gonna check Instagram one more time to make sure I didn't miss any off of the Instagram. Making sure. Checking the Instagram because I know the people on the community Discord know that I just kind of answer questions there. What are some beginner goals to set as a beginner in the occult? That's a good question. Finish your basic initiation stuff. Get to a point where you can manifest things and start, like, improving your life. You should be doing your initiation and seeing visible improvements in your life from doing occultism. If you are, and in the lives of people around you. That is important. You shouldn't be, like, psychic vampiring people. You should be like, yeah, I'm doing magic, we're doing good things, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's no questions on the Instagram. Again, the Instagram people are very quiet. Worst case scenario, if I'm missing anything on the community Discord, I'll answer them in the community Discord. Link should be in the description. If the link is not in the description for the community Discord, let me know. I think I put it there. Could be there. But yeah. Freighter Acker's Holy Daemon a valid HGA source? I mean, I am biased, so Holy Daemon is a book that exists. I haven't read it, I'll be honest with you. I go out of my way to not read books on the HGA because 9 times out of 10 they will piss me off. So yeah. Is Freighter Acker's Holy yeah, okay, read that one already. Outside of the Red Brick or Barden, what other initiations do you think are good for absolute beginners? See, the problem is those are the only 2 I've heard good things about and have, like, actually looked into. But I hear good things about Initiation into the Golden Dawn by the Ciceros. So, like, if I had to give, like, a third, that would probably be the third one. But if you need other recommendations than that, check out my Ceremonial Brick Cycle. It doesn't have, like, a full stage initiation into it, but there is something in the purple brick that will, like, allow you to learn what you like and what you don't like, so I recommend using that. There. That's my answer on that one. Alright. Hopefully everyone enjoyed. Thanks everyone for coming down. We've been doing these weekly for a while now. Still happy to see that people still like these. Even if it is just an excuse for me to play interesting games on stream and answer occult questions, as long as they're not things that would interrupt me, like Baldur's Gate 3 is not on the list, and Starfield is not on the list either. But yeah. Thanks everyone. If I see any more yeah. If I see one more question, I will answer it, but looks like chat's dead. All right. I just used the statements of intent video, and noticed common initiation themes and just went with it and made one. Yeah. Yep, that usually works. I forget which one is the purple brick. I need to rewatch that. That is Llewellyn's Complete Book of Ceremonial Magic. And Google user, you just use the final question. So what subject is next? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But yeah, that being said, I have been Dave the Amateur Magus. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Take it easy. Hope you're having a good day. If you're not having a good day, hope your time watching the stream made your day a little bit better. Take it easy.